I was moving some stuff around in the shop and had to move the windshield frame for the Jeep. I figured I'd throw this on here just so that it's out of my way other places. What we've got here is a pretty good example of how these things rot out. Moisture will get trapped down in the bottom here and it'll kind of rot from the bottom up. I've kind of done some sandblasting on this already. Most of it's kind of okay. There's a couple little pinholes. The top part here is also pretty crunchy. I think that having the hardtop screwed in here might have contributed to that. Luckily, I picked up a second one. This one's rotted out around the glass, but the panels that are bad on mine are not as bad on this one. The bottom's still pretty far gone, but that's just a flat piece, so it shouldn't be too hard to make. But this piece at the top and this panel are pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and strip off the pieces that I need from this one. And that way I can scrap the rest of it. I'm a little surprised that a lot of this stuff is coming out without too much trouble. Not nearly as bad as my Jeep was. Ah yes, time for my favorite part. I feel like this video needs to be about more than just putting this windshield frame back together. You see, when you do a build like this and make videos about it, you tend to watch a lot of other people's build videos too, and to be honest, a lot of them just aren't really that good. There are a lot of people out there that are doing phenomenally interesting projects, but because YouTube rewards consistent uploads and watch time more than anything else, a lot of the time the storyline gets lost and the videos just become sort of this is what I did this week and get filled up with a lot of fluff and filler to drive up the watch time. I keep hearing about how AI slop is a problem, but there's also a lot of real genuine human generated slop out there too that's really just made to keep our algorithmic overlords happy, and a lot of cool projects fall victim to that. I can't blame the creators, that's just the game that YouTube has made. But the reality is a project like this really takes a long time and doesn't happen linearly. It's not necessarily something you can pack into nice weekly segments. That cut right there from the donor windshield to the original windshield, that was a 6-month gap. I wanted to cut off the parts I needed and get rid of the rest of it so it was out of my way. But it really doesn't make sense to use that footage in a video about the Jeep cooling system that I was working on at the same time. So the parts in the footage got set to the side until I was ready to use them. The other thing about these videos is a lot of times they get kind of repetitive. I mean, I'm literally tearing the same parts off of the windshield frame that I just showed you. And I've also shown a lot of rust repair and patching in this series, so I don't really feel like I need to go through all of the details of how to do it. And should you wonder why I go back and forth between TIG welding and MIG welding in this video, it's because right around here I ran out of gas for the TIG welder, so I switched to the MIG welder to keep going. I've also got a piece of square tube clamped to this thing to keep it straight while I spot weld it together. And while I'm ranting about this stuff, another of my pet peeves is the format of tell me what you're going to do, maybe show me doing it, and then tell me that you did it and what you're going to do next. Through the magic of a little bit of voiceover, I can explain to you while I'm showing you the footage that I used Clecos, which are like temporary rivets, to hold my donor panel onto the main windshield frame, and I'm going through and just drilling out the holes and spot welding it together. In order to put the bottom piece on, I have to get rid of the clamp, so I'm going to tack the tube in place while I do that. Hopefully this will help keep things straight. I made up a new bottom piece since both of the ones I had were completely rotted out. And I went ahead and tacked that on the back. I also tacked the front on and then test fit it. Realized it didn't fit right, drilled those out, put it back together and clamped it in place in the right spot. Now I can take this off and weld it in, except I can't take it off. I can get enough of this tacked together to figure out the right position. Sometimes you gotta use your little vice grips. I'm not sure why this came out shorter than this, but I've got a little gap there that I need to fill in. And I could take a little strip and weld it in there, but it's going to be really hard to finish that inside weld. I'm going to be a lot better off just cutting it out and putting a little patch panel in there. Since this whole video is about patching this thing up, that's one of those things that doesn't really add to the story, but it is one of the things that I like to include in these videos because it is the sort of thing you have to think about when you're doing this. It's good advice if you ever try something like this. This channel piece came off a lot easier than the donor because I wasn't really worried about it, and it was also rusted out a lot more. I got the new rubber gasket for the bottom, which of course doesn't fit quite right. Now, is that because I didn't rebuild this thing quite right? Or is it just not the right fit because these Jeep parts never fit quite right? I don't know, but we'll do the best we can. Now that that's attached okay, I can mark out the holes for the defroster vents. Should probably also check and make sure this fits on the Jeep still. These latches are adjustable up and down. That seems pretty good. I will eventually put some sort of defroster on here. The way it works is there's a duct that blows air up through here, through these holes, and then out through these louvers onto the windshield, and might do something. Since I'm going to have a hardtop on this some of the year, I probably should have that working. Of course, the real motivation for cutting those holes is to be able to kind of get in and do some hammer and dolly work on the dent that I put in it when I dropped the thing on the floor while I was working on it. This is obviously a pretty awkward thing to do, but I managed to get a dolly back in behind here, and I'm just holding it up with the pry bar. And for my next trick, I'm going to try something that's almost certain to end poorly. I did kind of a cursory job taping off the vents, and I'm just going to pour some paint down in there and try to slosh it around. Hopefully it works into all the little nooks and crannies and gaps between the panels. Probably just run out on the floor. Some of it did run out on the floor, but I will say that worked way better than it had any right to. Unless you think this paint job came out way too nice for the rest of the Jeep, rest assured that it has a good bit of orange peel and some thin spots and some drips and sags. It's all suitably bad. I gave these brackets a pretty cursory paint job. By that I mean I sprayed some paint on them without doing any prep. They'll probably, patina back pretty quickly. These hold the windshield off the hood when you fold the windshield down. So I 3D printed some TPU bumpers for them. I'm just going to tap these existing holes. I hope. It might be a little pretty loose hole. So, now that I've got that done, I'm going to take all these screws out and put some Loctite on so they don't fall out. There are a left and right to these, and I think that notch goes to the bottom. I'm not entirely sure, but that one should go on that side. Might be the right screw. Perfect. You want to do the honors?
Up.
Flipping it up, latching it.
You do one and I'll do one.
All right. Now you can get it under. There. Probably the most dreaded part of this project is getting the gasket on the glass and the glass into the windshield frame. There are a lot of different tricks you can use for this, and I tried a bunch of them. But since I don't have a lot of experience doing this, it definitely tested me. Just set it right over the seal. Good. Good, good. I did eventually get everything to work into place, and after I edited out all the swearing, well, the glass is in there. If you do this sort of thing enough, you learn when you can bang your head against the wall and when you should get the proper tool for the job. In this case, I splurged and got the lock strip installation tool. It also helps to run the tool around once before you put the lock strip in, just to get the gasket seated a little better. I decided, at least for now, to use the original vacuum wipers. This Jeep only had one originally, but the donor windshield had two. I was able to free them up and get 2 good ones out of 3 bad ones. Or maybe mostly good ones. I need to get a 12-volt vacuum pump and the proper size hose to actually hook these up. But I'm not really planning on driving this in the rain a whole lot for right now anyway, so they're mostly aesthetic at this point. Well, there you go. There's the story of how I put this thing back together, tucked into a neat sub-15-minute package. The algorithm might not like it, but turns out I don't make these videos for the algorithm, so I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to keep chipping away at all the other little things I need to do to get this Jeep back on the road, and I'll be back when I have another story to share with you.